God be with you, noble lady. There's something I'd like to ask of you.
God be with you. What would that be?
Your diplomatic support. And your money.
No beating around the bush, eh? I like that. But what do you want my money for?
Margrave Yob's plan has some gaps, milady. We need to gather enough resources to...
To muster an army that Margrave can't afford on his own?
Christ. Be praised. You're astute.
I should say so. All sorts of people have their eyes on my money, and divining their intentions is a necessity. Although, between the two of us, it isn't hard to figure out what Liechtenstein is after.
Hit the nail on the head again, Mom. You're well informed.
I am rarely mistaken.
I'd say you have a better nose for people than most of this crowd.
Not only for people, but also for good food and wine. And beneficial deals.
Then you're in the right place. This occasion provides all of those things.
The wine here is average. The cooks lack imagination. And I have yet to hear any interesting offers. So, to the point. What is it that Liechtenstein wants from me?
Nothing more than support and resources for an army to parley more effectively with Sigismund.
Nothing more? I'd say that's plenty. And why ask me for help? Why should I, of all people, take the risk?
It's not only your money we're interested in. You're well able to negotiate and trade. And if you were to take part in our plan...
Then I'd be helpful to you on two fronts. If you want me to support you, you must give me a good reason. Perhaps a favor in return.
Do you have something in particular in mind?
Well, one of the guests here has something that shouldn't get into the wrong hands.
Who's that?
Harman Alder. Now, if you were to switch these papers for the ones he brought with him, I would support your proposal.
And these papers I'm supposed to switch, what do they concern?
My relatives somehow dug up some trade contracts between myself and certain undesirable parties.
You were dealing with the enemy.
They were not the enemy at the time. My conscience is clear, but I'll rest easier when those papers are in my hands.
And the papers I'm supposed to plant on Alder?
Just insignificant documents. If the incriminating ones disappeared without a trace, it would arouse suspicion.
Have you fallen out with the town councillor?
No. Alder is innocent in the matter. My relatives from the House of Bartosz are behind it all. They're disappointed that I dared outlive my husband, and the fact that I'm handling his estates makes their hair stand on end.
I'm supposed to rob an ally.
Harman Alder was given the documents to deliver to the council. He hasn't yet had a chance to look at them, so he won't even notice the difference.
All right, I'll help you. Or at least I'll give it a try.
Alder will surely have the papers in his saddlebags, which he left in the shed on the outer courtyard. Bring them to me, and put these there instead. But watch yourself. Odorim's groom has eyes everywhere.
Take a look at that. A nightingale surrounded by hawks.
Jobster Nightingale. He looks more like a wet hen to me.
It's quite unusual to see him cornered like this.
I hope there'll be no singing. We've had a few nightingales.
What brings you here? Greetings. What do you need?
Aren't you a bit bored?
What's your problem? The horses are fed and watered. I'm not idle.
God forbid. But standing around here must be a pain in the arse, no? You might get thirsty.
Not really. What of it?
Shall we roll some dice? I'm sure you can take a little breather, eh?
Well, all right. But just for a little while. I'll wait at the table over there.
I'm seriously curious about you, lad. Like they say, your loss is my gain. Alright, that'll do. Damn! Shit! That'll do me. Roll. Finished. Your turn.
Greetings to you.
Let it
friend.
be now. I want to play too, you know. Excellent! And the money goes to me.
I've got those papers from Aldo for you.
Quiet! You don't have to announce it to everyone.
Lady, with all the clamor going on here, I can hardly hear my own thoughts. Here they are.
You're more capable than I expected. Thanks for the help.
You're welcome. And now you're part of the bargain.
As agreed. I will support Liechtenstein's proposal with both words and money.
Thank you, noble lady. God will...
Yes, quite. But let's drink to our bargain, Godwin.
How could I refuse a toast with such a fine lady? To your health, Lady Anna.
And to the success of our efforts.
Christ, what's the hold-up? The one with the huge titties.
That's exactly why we mustn't push too hard.
You seem a bit out of sorts. Anything wrong?
Oh, these grand aristocratic assemblies are nothing for me. I'd be happier if they just told me in the morning how it all went and what my boys have to do next.
But then you'd miss all the grub and the booze, and the gossip.
Oh, and have you heard anything interesting here?
Let's hope young Lord Capon manages to stay free for a while longer. Ever since leaving Rattay, he's gone from one pile of trouble to another.
That's one thing you can always count on him for. I'll gladly wager with you he'll end up in some other shit by evening.
God forbid. Henry's not here now to pull him out of it.
In that case, it'll be up to you. I'm sure you wouldn't leave him to disgrace himself in front of Hanush.
A lot of people think the wealthy burghers will stick with Sigismund, whether out of fear or convenience.
Now that's to be expected. As long as Sigismund has the city council under his thumb, no one will rock the boat.
Well, at least there's a few individuals here, like Ruthard.
Sigismund confiscated his castle and half his estates. That'll be enough to make a man mad. Not to mention that his son was killed in the siege of the city.
It seems Liechtenstein's looking for allies, for his own ends.
And how's he gonna do it? Didn't you see them all fighting tooth and nail here just a while ago?
Well, different approaches work with different people.
The only approach that'll work with Sigismund is open resistance. Maybe on the field of battle?
Sir Wojciech, I need to speak with you for a moment.
A man hardly puts his cup to his lips and someone comes along to put a flea in his ear. Jobst comes up with a plan as full of holes as a beggar's shoes, and now you're all jostling to win me over for him.
On the contrary, I've come here with an idea how to improve it.
Does that improvement include a few thousand men-at-arms? If not, you can go to the devil with it.
A few thousand men-at-arms as a convincing argument. And 100 horsemen on top. Only in order to get them, we need coin.
You've got my attention, but not my money yet.
Don't worry, it's not just your money I want to draw on. Believe it or not, we've gained other patrons for our cause too.
Really? Name at least one of those lunatics then.
Anna of Volstein, for instance.
Truly? Well, let's see about it then.
I wouldn't mention the word lunatic.
All right, let's discuss it, candidly. I have a lot of property, lots of subjects to look after, and along with that, the Lord blessed me with a large family. I can't risk it all in a conflict with Sigismund.
So you need guarantees that you won't be left standing in the cold if you openly oppose Sigismund.
My guarantee is called Yitka. She's my niece. If I succeeded in marrying her off to another strong house, I'll have the certainty that I won't be left alone.
Maybe it's enough to find a suitable groom among the allies.
Perhaps someone of suitable standing who Yitka would also gladly accept. I don't want her to be unhappy.
I believe Liechtenstein is single.
And an uncertain party. Besides, he's inconvenient for Sigismund. Yitka could end up being a pawn to blackmail both of us.
I'd be honored to oblige. I'm in my prime.
Forget about it. Even if by some miracle you could manage to sire children, you'd die before you could raise them.
The truth doesn't offend, my lord. But I had to give it a try. How about young Lord Capon?
He's a youngster still.
He may be young, but he's got something between his ears. He's got battle experience. And when he gets the estate that's his by right, he'll be well secured for life.
If he gets it. Right now, Hanush lords over Rattay and seems quite happy with that state of affairs. On the other hand, the lords of Lipa have a good reputation, and Hanush can always be relied on, despite his temper. Maybe it's not such a bad idea.
So, will you support our plan?
You're selling the skin of a boar that's still grunting. First, I want a confirmation that the wedding will take place as soon as possible.
And what if Lord Capon refuses?
I don't care what the young lord thinks. Hanush is the one to decide. If he agrees, I'll be happy to support your plan.
Pushing a friend to tie the knot to save the kingdom. Things have come to a pretty pass.
The kingdom will not forget his sacrifice. Now stop dilly-dallying and go and tell Hanush.
I've got some good news and some bad news for you.
The bad news is there's hardly any females in this whole damned place. There's some old bat standing there with 2 young girls, but she watches over them like a mother hen. So at least tell me the good news.
You're going to get married.
Good one. Is she at least pretty?
I don't know. I've never seen her.
You're really a barrel of laughs, Gordon. Wait till Hanush hears this. Now, enough nonsense. Let's have a drink to your health and my freedom.
To your health.
Take a look at that.
Sir Hanush, I bring happy tidings.
You do? Let's hear it then.
Young Lord Capon is going to get married.
If he's got some impoverished noble's daughter pregnant, I'll have his hide. I'm not going to support some bastard.
You misunderstood my meaning. I was the one who arranged the betrothal. I mean, with your blessing.
You arranged a marriage for my ward? Just like that? With who?
With the niece of Sir Bochek, Lord of Kunstadt. Her name's Yidka.
Bochek of Kunstadt? The Bochek of Kunstadt? Godwin, you conniving old bastard!
Oh, fuck.
I don't believe it. So, young Hans is to marry Kunstadt's daughter?
Niece.
If you're serious, I'll make sure that you get the Rattay parish.
Or you could make me the abbot of Sassa. Or what about a bishopric?
Forget it. Soon I'll be paying for a wedding. Not a word to Hans. I want to tell him myself. But let's drink to it, shall we?
Cheers!
Cheers to you, and to your parleying skills.
That's exactly why we mustn't push too hard.
Sir Bochek, your niece Yidka can start preparing for her wedding.
So Hanush agreed, without reservations.
Indeed.
Then I will fulfill my end of the bargain without reservation.
Thank you, Lord of Kunstadt.
Enough formality. We'll have a drink. What do you say?
Cheers to the beautiful Lady Yidka and the unhappy Lord Capon.
Here's to a good bargain.
I'm still hoping it works out and we walk out of here with a clear plan.
Gentlemen, I think we can raise our goblets to the successful conclusion of the negotiations.
Is this supposed to be your secret weapon?
Like I said, miracles happen where you least expect them. Tell me, Godwin of the House of Odorin, what news do you bring us?
I bring nothing from the House of Odorin. But the widow of Waldstein and Sir Bocek of Kunstadt will support our cause.
Both of them. Good heavens, what did you promise them?
This is going to be a long story, and I could use a drink. So if you'll excuse me, my lords?
It would seem that we have all benefited from the break in these proceedings. New alliances have been formed. And I have also changed my plans. We shall still wait for Sigismund to withdraw his troops of his own accord. But we will wait with an army at our backs.
Yes. And how are we to raise an army? Wasn't it made clear at the meeting that no one wants to take the risk?
The only thing made clear was that each of us alone is weak, and that we could not find common ground. But that has now changed.
King Wenceslas is, by the will of God, the Balbatim of all his subjects. Not only the Christians, our community, and not only ours, will give you coin.
The Kuttenberg houses are still loyal to King Wenceslaus, and we stand with Lord Ruthard.
And if that's not enough, the houses of Leipa and Kunstadt will unite and march side by side.
My niece, Yitka, will take young Lord Capon as her husband.
Lords Kunstadt, Hanush, Radzig, and I will set out immediately. God willing, we will be back within 3 weeks, along with an army.
Now those are words worthy of a nobleman.
My friend, I still believe that words are more powerful than swords. And our words will ring in 1,000 voices to the glory of King Wenceslas.
After we conquered the city, you promised to restore order immediately. And then I find out things are even more disordered than before.
Your Majesty, we are sorry. We will put it to rights.
You've already said that. I want to hear real solutions.
We will put more guards on the roads and toughen penalties. We can have a few captured bandits executed as an example to others.
We do not care about bandits. We care about rebellious nobles and burghers. What will you do with them? How will you solve the chaos in the town administration, the rebellious miners, and the dismal yields? And how is it even possible that a rebellion against the king is smoldering here in the city?
What do you mean, sire?
I hear the resistance is coming from the Jewish quarter, from right under your noses. Why haven't you done anything?
We don't know who is behind this. Without evidence, we cannot punish them.
Otto von Berghoff did not ask questions in Prague either. He acted. And I advise you to do the same. Find a couple of wretches in a hole somewhere, point them to the Jewish quarter, and give them free rein to do anything. The city's Jewish community was and still is on Wencesla's side. They need a warning.
We do not even have enough men to...
Marquardt, could you spare a few men for a while?
Of course, sire. I'll assign them to Eric. He'll take care of it.
So you see, all you have to do is make sure the city rabble get their share. You could at least manage that, couldn't you? And if the thought should cross your minds that you would get rid of the debts to the Jewish moneylanders this way, forget about it. Your debts will remain, up to the last groschen. Only now you owe us directly. And while we are on the subject of money, has the yield from the mines finally matched last year's?
Sire, the deposits are dwindling, and mining is becoming increasingly difficult. And to make matters worse, the miners started rebelling.
Don't take us for a fool. They'll stop rebelling when you pay them proper wages.
Your Majesty, we can't do that.
Silence! How dare you oppose the kingdom's protector? You're a bunch of incompetent sycophants! Chicken shits! Not any better than the scum hiding in the forest.
I apologize, sire. I'll do everything in my power to...
All I hear from you over and over again are excuses and prevarication. And results? None. I therefore placed the city council under the authority of Sir Marquardt von Aulitz, who is present here, with immediate effect. He will make sure you finally do your duty.
But, sire, that would be a violation of the privileges granted to us as a free mining town.
Silence! I am the only guarantor of your rights. You have to earn your privileges, not hide behind them. During my brother's reign, this idleness was perhaps tolerated. But that is over now. You were given a few simple tasks. But instead of working on them, you idled in the baths and lined your pockets. And let the traitors cast their nets undisturbed. But unlike my brother, I am capable of creating order. And I assure you, I do not distinguish between those who stand in my way. Be they beggars, noblemen, or city councillors. You have 2 weeks to restore order in the city and increase mining output. I want clear results, and you answer only to me and Sir Marquardt von Aulitz now. No one else. The council is dismissed. You, don't go anywhere, boy. Be so kind and remain here. Our throat has become rather dry. And we still wish to speak with our friend von Aulitz.
Yes, sire. As you wish, sire.
Between the two of us, Marquardt, was I not perhaps too harsh on them? And speak candidly, we have had enough of false flattery.
Sire, you were harsh, but rightfully so.
Where are you going?
These councils...
Mind your own business.
They need to be shown their place.
Hey, waiter!
Keep... Their insolence for far too long.
You won't surrender!
Between the two of us, Mark. But was I not perhaps too harsh on them?
Hey! What kind of...
Between the two of us, Marquardt. Was I not perhaps too harsh on them? And speak candidly. We have had enough of false flattery.
Sire, you were harsh, but rightfully so. These councillors, they need to be shown their place. You suffered their insolence for far too long. And the same is true of the Jews.
We know. Otto repeated to us several times that it is time to strike against them. We are glad he's not here. He would be intolerably self-satisfied if he knew we had heeded him.
Boy, can't you see the king's cup is empty?
You tend to us as if we were infirm. Boy, pour us a monastic wine. The monks had a good year. We have concerns, friend. The Hungarians are rebelling. Our army is falling apart, and we have enemies here on all sides. Would we had a proper army instead of human mercenaries? They cannot be relied upon. And we are no closer to our goal now than a few months ago.
Where are you going? Mind your own business.
It is a good year. If our father were still alive, he would have been astonished by the mess that a few years of Wenceslas' reign brought to us. With a single word, he would have put the nobility in their place, and the country would flourish. God grant him eternity.
We won't need much more time. Hey, waiter.
We'll arrest the
Keep your
traitor
distance. You won't surrender?
Between the two of us, Margaret, was I not perhaps too harsh on them? And speak candidly, we have had enough of false flattery.
Sire, you were harsh, but rightfully so. These councillors, they need to be shown their place. You suffered their insolence for far too long. And the same is true of the Jews.
We know. Otto repeated to us several times that it is time to strike against them. We are glad he's not here. He would be intolerably self-satisfied if he knew we had heeded him.
Boy, can't you see the king's cup is empty?
You tend to us as if we were infirm. Boy, pour us a monastic wine. The monks had a good...
Beautiful.
We have concerns, friend. The Hungarians are rebelling. Our army is falling apart, and we have enemies here on all sides. Would we had a proper army instead of human mercenaries? They cannot be relied upon. And we are no closer to our goal now than a few months ago.
Great.
You won't surrender?
Between the two of us, Margaret, was I not perhaps too harsh on them? And speak candidly, we have had enough of false flattery.
Sire, you were harsh, but rightfully so. These councillors, they need to be shown their place. You suffered their insolence for far too long. And the same is true of the Jews.
We know. Otto repeated to us several times that it is time to strike against them. We are glad he's not here. He would be intolerably self-satisfied if he knew we had heeded him.
Boy, can't you see the king's cup is empty?
You tend to us as if we were infirm. Boy, pour us a monastic wine. The monks had a good year. We have concerns, friend.
Nice.
The Hungarians are rebelling. Our army is falling apart, and we have enemies here on all sides. Would we had a proper army instead of human mercenaries? They cannot be relied upon. And we are no closer to our goal now than a few months ago. Thank you. It is a good year. If our father were still alive, he would have been astonished by the mess that a few years of Wenceslas' reign brought to us. With a single word, he would have put the nobility in their place, and the country would flourish. God grant him eternal glory.
We won't need much more time. We'll arrest the traitor Odorin, and the rest will fall in line.
You say the others will be brought into line, but what do you know of them? We know only a few of them. But there's a fortress standing on every damn hill here. What side are their lords on?
We'll find out soon enough, sire.
If only Wenceslas were not such a stubborn ass, and relinquished that throne that he has no use for anyway. The nobility, on the other hand, found a ruler like him very useful. They made a puppet out of him.
Once you restore order, they'll join you. All you have to do is promise them the privileges they lost during Wenceslas' reign.
First, they'd have to be willing to make peace at least among themselves. Jobst does everything he can to sow chaos, so that he himself emerges victorious in the end. This business makes me thirsty. Pour me some of that red, boy.
I think Jobst is just waiting for the right moment. He'll switch sides when it suits him.
Maybe. But first I'll have to conquer a few more cities. And get a couple more lords on my side. Then they take the threat of war seriously. And Hungary. If Bohemia is a wasp nest, then Hungary is a viper's lair.
You will follow in his footsteps, sire, as soon as you get the chance.
But the wine is good to you. To your health, Margaret. And to your health too, boy. May your children grow in a land ruled by a good king.
Thank you, sire. You are too magnanimous.
Why? You did a good job. You can be proud of yourself.
To your health, your majesty.
First, we need to crack down on the biggest troublemakers.
We're working on it. While the consul was meeting, Otto von Berghoff and his men set out for Raposh. Odorin won't give you any more trouble.
He and Ruthard are in it together. Once we get Odorin, we can handle Ruthard easily. Rabosh will be yours. After all, Otto has already got Malishov.
I appreciate your confidence, sire.
But the devil knows there are a lot more strongholds to conquer here.
For the king, red wine, boy.
No, we shall have white. We have had enough of red.
White it is. Quickly! If Raposh falls, others will follow.
I think von Berghoff's little contraption will find its use again.
If need be, we could use it to raise this town all too. And I have some suggestions for other candidates.
Not so fast, my friend. It's a wondrous tool, but we can't rely on it forever.
But to bring it here to the square and point it at the city hall? Those sycophants would only benefit from a warning like that.
It's a splendid idea, but it won't be necessary. The councillors are quite fearful enough already that they can hide nothing from us.
There's been enough fretting, sire. You shall see. Soon we will drink to the conquest of another fortress.
You are right. So then, to victory. And you, boy, will you drink with us? So that you shall have something to tell your children and grandchildren.
To victory, sire.
To today's, and those of the future.
Surely you don't want to break in?
Marrying the young Lord of Kirkstein.
I sure did. Watch
But the maiden in her queue, Paris priest has going to be sweating at the
Never heard
altar.
of
Nearly drops his soul to Hallelujah, Domine. Hallelujah, Domine.
A word with you, friend.
You in need of something, my well-oiled friend?
I'd like to drink a toast with you to our joint success. As they say, all's well that ends well. So, to brighter tomorrows.
Touching.
Come now. What's become of your poetic soul?
I never had one.
Truly? Not even a little?
Well, maybe once. The older I get, the worse it is. Give me a few more years and I'll become a professional mourner.
See now. I'll gladly drink to that with you. Only there's nothing to drink. We've run dry.
Fuck. I've got a tongue like a slice of week-old bread after all that gabbing.
Well, get something wet for us then.
His lordship is so unsteady on his legs, he can't make it as far as the keg.
To hell with that keg slop. Your father surely has something better stored away. I had my eye on him all evening. He had pictures brought from somewhere for himself and his closest friends, and left the rest of us to drink cheap dregs. Try and find one of those pictures for us, eh? I'm sure you can manage that.
You can bet on it. I've got a nose for booze.
I don't doubt it. Get sniffing quick.
Compelling argument in any debate going on around it.
What does it matter?
The sausages were off.
How'd you like a wine, Chevalier?
The art of winemaking has a long tradition in La Belle France. Recipes are passed on from father to son, and each generation brings them to perfection. I myself was practically raised on wine. How many I have tasted. Even the French royal court took note of my refined taste. The king himself had wine delivered for his table according to my advice.
I expect his lordship had the best barrels rolled out. Now, if you'd only known he had a real connoisseur here.
Best barrels! Mon ami, this wine would perhaps be suited to the infirmary, where it would suffice for cleaning wounds and easing pain. For that, the taste is of little consequence. Give me 109 in 4.
About the girls?
Immensely valuable.
Anyway, looking at him closely, I reckon he's more of a...
Having a good time?
He's a fucking bore. These old farts here have no idea what fun is.
Well, what are you missing? There's wine, food, even a few females worth the same.
Nah, I'd rather have a game of dice. I want a good punch-up.
Well, let's have a game then. But for what?
For coin. What else?
Playing for coin's a bore. You got anything else to wager?
I might have something. But you'll have to bet at least 20 groschen against it.
And what might that be?
Let's keep it a surprise. You won't be sorry, though.
What the hell? It'll be fun at least.
You bet it will.
Greetings.
You can dip that rotten carrot in lard and ram it up your dry arse.
I was just having a laugh with you. Lighten up a bit, eh? But if you don't like your prize, hand it over here.
Here you are. Not much use to me.
Ah, you've got no imagination. It's not for eating, but it still has uses. Like I could shove it down the back of the cousin's shirt.
But you know, my answer. I appreciate your friendship. But I'd rather run my own affairs.
How come you're still here, sir? Weren't you supposed to travel with Sir Hanush? Raise an army, prepare a wedding feast and all that?
All hail Yobst. He sorted things out here nicely. He got my money for a start, and that's more than I wanted to give him. But you know how it goes. Give them a finger. I explained to the Margrave that I'm not going anywhere, and I sent my captain with him. He's still young and full of piss and vinegar. I'm too old and fond of my comfort.
Did you at least discuss with Hanush where the wedding will take place?
Nothing to discuss. The wedding will take place at our castle Littitz, of course. It's the pride of our family. We can fit in 3 times more people than here, and that still wouldn't be much.
Ah, but there are 2 castles in Rattay. I'd bet my right arm old Hanush will want to have the wedding there.
What? In Rattay? Well, I ought to look into that then.
But deal with him yourself, though. I won't be your gent's messenger anymore.
Have you ever thought about getting married again? It would make a lot of things
Looking at him closely.
Good evening, my esteemed lady. I haven't yet had the opportunity to make your acquaintance.
No matter. I know who you are. Although Martin hardly spoke of you, from what I heard, I could conjure up a pretty good picture.
No offense, ma'am. But whatever picture you painted me, I have reason enough to believe it's mistaken.
Indeed. So the stories of how in your youth you used to drag a different chambermaid to your bed every night is nothing but slander?
And I also heard that you once fell drunk into the trench in front of the fortress, horse and all.
All right, I confess to that one. But nothing happened to either me or the horse.
And is it not true that one of your paramours made off with your late mother's jewelry?
We are all sinners, Ma. And besides, that was 20 years ago. A person can change a lot in that time.
Unquestionably. My husband is living proof of it. No more than I.
Is your husband here too? I don't believe I've had the honor.
You won't find him here. He stayed at home in our fortress. He suffers from gout and doesn't like long journeys.
Or any journeys for that matter. Even where the king goes on his own 2 feet, my husband has to be carried by 3 servants.
All his life he gorged himself on meat, pastries, and wine, and now he's paying for it.
Would you kindly introduce your two companions?
This is Lady Christina, second wife of Lord Binic of Nostitz. She's standing in for him here today.
Nice to meet you, sir.
How come your husband didn't come?
Because he's been rotting for nearly a year in the king's captivity.
I'm sorry to hear that, Mom. I pray that God shall return him to you soon.
I've been praying for it since the day I got word of his captivity. Perhaps worldly powers will come to our aid once the promised army turns up. One hopes.
What's your opinion of the outcome of today's assembly?
That it's about time. Although at the onset it looked like everyone here would carry on arguing like fishwives at the market. But in the end, it seems the agreement arrived at will bear fruit.
It's rather noisy here, Mom. Don't you think?
It is, a bit. But that's all part of celebrations, and today we have cause for celebration, don't we?
Wouldn't you prefer a little privacy? I'll gladly escort you.
Restrain your ardor. You're not the first to try and lure my girls somewhere out of my sight. If you want to amuse yourself with them, I insist on being present, or you may be on your way.
But I had no wish to.
And while you're on your way, we're quite thirsty from all this constant chit-chat.
Do I look like a servant to you?
No, but surely you wouldn't leave these young ladies to suffer thirst. Be so kind and bring us another pitcher of wine. I don't know what's in those kegs, and I don't intend to try it out.
Yes. Danny, looking at him closely, I reckon he's more of a draft horse. There are a few of those around my mind. What kind of name is Palace anyway? Supple. See now, just mispronounce the name.
May I interrupt you for a moment?
You already did, didn't you?
What's the matter?
Bullock, you're changing the subject, so you don't have to admit
Everyone keeps saying that the prettiest girls in the whole county serve the Yoderans at Rabosh. I didn't believe it. But I can see there's some truth in it.
What are you blabbering about?
Haven't you had a little too much wine, perhaps?
Not at all. I could drink every man here under the table. Want me to show you?
No need. I believe you.
Stop bothering us and go pester someone else. Dasha isn't interested.
May I interrupt you already?
What's the matter?
One of the most esteemed guests ordered more wine. Where might I find it?
All over the place. Are you blind?
I meant the really fine wine. The kind that Martin Odrin would drink.
No way. Sir Martin ordered for it to be served only to him and a few of his favorites.
Have you seen the state he's in? Tomorrow, he won't even remember what was agreed here today. Anyway, he'll never miss one jug of wine if it disappears.
All right. Them pictures are on a table in the cellar. But you didn't hear it from me.
Now off you go and leave us alone. Phallus, anyway. It's pronounced Cephalus.
The rat'll be good, I hope.
Now there. There's
Lister was brown-eyed, though. Steak. I'm talking about fucking singers, mate. Twat. I love my Alicia. I remember someone saying something important about ladies.
How would you like a wine?
The art recipe. I'm even the king.
I expect
best this.
We're off to a good start.